Welcome back. I'm going to be very direct with you from the first second of this video. What you are about to hear has not been officially confirmed. No verified government source has declared Mojtaba Khamenei dead. But the rumors swirling through intelligence networks, diplomatic circles, and international media in the last 48 hours are so intense and so consequential that we'd be doing you a disservice by ignoring them. Tonight, we break down everything we know, everything we don't know, and most importantly, why this question matters so much. We'll tell you who's saying what, cite our sources, and let you draw your own conclusions. Stay with us. This story is moving fast. Most people in the West, and frankly, most people in Iran, knew very little about Mojtaba Khamenei before this crisis erupted. He was deliberately secretive. Mojtaba never held the highest clerical rank traditionally expected for leadership. Yet he built influence through relationships with security officials and members of the IRGC. That network placed him in a position to become a leading candidate in the succession debate once Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was gone. Prior to his father's death, Ali Khamenei had not publicly discussed his replacement, nor had anyone been officially designated as successor. However, since 2014, various news outlets had reported that succession had been discussed but never disclosed publicly. The succession process itself was messy and controversial. Members of the Assembly of Experts described the atmosphere of the online meeting to choose the next leader as unnatural. Those who presented arguments against Mojtaba Khamenei were given limited time to speak. Discussion was cut off, and a vote was held. U.S. and Israeli bombs hit the Assembly of Experts office in the city of Qom after the votes had been cast but before the count had been completed. According to UK-based Amaj Media, the late leaders will set conditions for his successor, including prior experience in high-level governance and electoral legitimacy, criteria Mojtaba allegedly did not meet. Mojtaba's appointment was reportedly pushed through by Hossein Tabeh, former head of IRGC intelligence, with the Assembly of Experts influenced by pressure from the guards. On March 8, 2026, Mojtaba Khamenei was formally appointed by the Assembly of Experts from the very beginning. This was a troubled, disputed, and deeply opaque transition of power, and that opacity would quickly fuel the rumors now circling the globe. Here is where the story gets genuinely alarming and where the rumors begin. Since being named Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei has not appeared publicly or spoken since succeeding his assassinated father as Iran's supreme leader, at the most critical juncture in the history of the Islamic Republic. Its new supreme leader is, in the words of observers, a ghost. Mojtaba Khamenei was officially elevated to the highest office on March 8th, following the assassination of his father. Yet, days into his reign amid a sprawling Middle Eastern war, Mojtaba has made zero physical public appearances. He has held no live press conferences, hosted no military parades, and met with no foreign dignitaries on camera. His first message as supreme leader was not delivered in person. Instead, it was read aloud by a state television anchor while a still photograph of Khamenei was displayed on screen, meaning that nearly 2 weeks after the conflict began, no video or audio recording of the new leader himself had been released. Iranian authorities provided no direct evidence of his condition. The reason the audio is completely inconsistent across global networks, read by a woman on Persian state TV, a heavily accented male on Al Jazeera, and an American accent elsewhere, is because the statement was merely written, text read aloud by various news anchors over a static photograph. Mojtaba Khamenei did not provide his own voice for this address. This leaves intelligence agencies with a fundamental problem. Even if Tehran eventually releases an audio tape claiming to be Mojtaba, there is almost no baseline to verify it. The only publicly known recording of his voice in existence is a brief, years-old, 1-minute clip. Think about that for a moment. Iran is at war, drones are flying, oil prices are spiking, the Strait of Hormuz is threatened, and the man who is supposed to be commanding all of it has not been seen, heard, or verified as conscious and alive. Now, let's be precise about what is actually confirmed versus what is rumored. What appears confirmed, or at least widely reported by multiple credible outlets. Mojtaba Khamenei survived the February 28th U.S.-Israeli strike on Tehran's leadership compound because he had stepped outside shortly before missiles hit his residence. According to leaked audio obtained by The Telegraph, the recording, attributed to a senior official in the office of the late Ali Khamenei, provides one of the fullest accounts yet of the strike. According to the report, the compound was hit at 9:32 a.m. local time in a coordinated attempt to kill members of the Khamenei family and senior Iranian leadership simultaneously. The Telegraph said the audio was independently verified and came from remarks delivered by Mazahir Hosseini, identified as head of protocol in Ali Khamenei's office during a March 12th meeting in Tehran. Hosseini said Mojtaba Khamenei had gone into the yard moments before the strike and was heading back upstairs when the building was hit. According to this account, Mojtaba had stepped into the compound's yard shortly before the strike, and Hosseini was quoted saying, translated from Persian, that Providence had caused Mojtaba to go outside at that exact moment. His injuries, per this account, were described as relatively minor. According to Hosseini, Mojtaba Khamenei sustained only a minor injury to his leg in the strike that killed many of his family members. But not everyone agrees with that assessment. Iran's ambassador to Cyprus, Alireza Salarian, told The Guardian that Mojtaba Khamenei was in hospital with injuries to his legs and arm. "I don't think he is comfortable to give a speech," Salarian said. International media outside of Iran reported Mojtaba suffered a fractured foot and minor facial injuries, including bruising around his left eye and superficial cuts, according to insiders familiar with his condition. And then there's the striking label used by Iranian state television itself. Tehran-run state media referred to Mojtaba Khamenei as Genbaz, a term used for Iran's disabled war veterans, further fueling speculation about the severity of his injuries. Even the U.S. government weighed in. U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters at the White House, "We don't know if he's dead or not." A lot of people are saying that he's badly disfigured. They're saying that he lost his leg, one leg, and he's been hurt very badly. Other people are saying he's dead. Nobody's saying he's 100% healthy. That is the sitting U.S. president, speaking from the White House podium, saying openly that he does not know whether Iran's supreme leader is alive or dead. Important disclaimer: everything in this section consists of unverified claims from anonymous sources and foreign intelligence assessments. None of it has been officially confirmed. We present it as context for understanding the current information environment, not as established fact. The most alarming reports come from I24 News, citing multiple anonymous sources. Iran's new supreme leader, Khamenei, is reportedly in a coma following the airstrike and is unaware that he has succeeded his father as leader of the Islamic Republic. A source in Tehran told reporters that the new supreme leader is hospitalized in intensive care at Sina University Hospital after sustaining serious injuries. According to the source, Khamenei is unaware of the ongoing regional war, the deaths of members of his family, and his own appointment as supreme leader. The same report quoted an Iranian official as saying no one knows anything about Mojtaba, whether he is alive or dead or how badly injured. The official added, "We are all just told that he's injured. He has no control over the war because he is not here," from the Kiwu Post, citing the Kuwaiti newspaper. Al Yarida came an even more extraordinary claim. Khamenei was secretly flown from Tehran to Moscow aboard a Russian military aircraft. Russian President Vladimir Putin personally proposed sending him to Russia for treatment during a phone call with Iranian President Masoud. The Kremlin confirmed the two leaders spoke on March 10th. Upon arrival in Moscow, Khamenei reportedly underwent surgery and is now receiving treatment at a secure medical facility located on the grounds of one of Putin's presidential residences. That report, if true, would represent one of the most dramatic geopolitical secrets in modern history. But it must be stressed. It comes from an anonymous source in a Kuwaiti newspaper, and neither Moscow nor Tehran has confirmed it. PJ Media, citing Middle Eastern political network sources, reported that rumors circulating in the region claim that Mojtaba Khamenei may be in poor condition while struggling to command respect among key figures inside the regime, and that questions about his health and capabilities circulate at the same moment Iran faces military pressure, economic strain, and internal tension. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also entered the fray. At a Pentagon press briefing on March 13th, Hegseth publicly claimed that Iran's new supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured and currently in hiding. Washington has framed this as part of a psychological warfare effort to highlight a potential power vacuum in Tehran, suggesting that a headless IRGC has propped up an incapacitated figurehead to maintain the illusion of control. So let's take stock. Here is a clean summary of what we can say with varying degrees of confidence. Confirmed, Mojtaba Khamenei was formally appointed Supreme Leader on March 8, 2026, following his father's assassination. He was present at the compound during the February 28th strike. He was injured. Both Iranian officials and foreign intelligence agencies concur on this point. He has not made a single verified public appearance. No live video, no live audio. 2 written statements have been issued in his name, read by third parties on state TV. Credibly reported but unverified, his injuries may be significantly more severe than officially acknowledged, possibly a fractured leg or worse. He may have been transferred to Moscow for medical treatment. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth described him as wounded and likely disfigured. President Trump publicly said, "We don't know if he's dead or not." One anonymous Iranian official claimed, "No one knows anything about Mojtaba, whether he is alive or dead." Unverified rumors that he is in a coma and unaware of his own appointment, that he has died from his injuries, with the regime conducting that the RGC is effectively governing Iran using a fictional supreme leader as the uncertainty surrounding his condition has raised serious questions about who is making decisions in Tehran, and the growing role of the IRGC suggests the powerful military organization may now be exercising greater influence over the country's political direction. What we are witnessing is a geopolitical situation without modern precedent. An active supreme leader who has never been seen or heard from, who commands the world's most consequential oil choke point, whose country is at war, and whose actual physical condition remains a genuine mystery to world leaders, intelligence agencies, and his own citizens. Whether Mojtaba Khamenei is dead, dying, or simply hiding from Israeli drones, the effect on Iran's stability is the same. A power vacuum, an RGC increasingly off the leash, and a world holding its breath over the Strait of Hormuz. We will continue monitoring this story and bring you updates the moment credible, verifiable information emerges. Iran's official position is that Mojtaba Khamenei is alive, injured, but stable, and fully in command. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmae Yubaghei said in an interview with Corriere della Sera on March 12th, he is wounded, but he is doing well. I don't know when he will deliver his first speech in the statement attributed to him, read by a state TV presenter over a still photograph. Khamenei called for national unity, said the Strait of Hormuz would continue to be closed to pressure Iran's enemies, and warned that all U.S. bases in the region should be immediately closed or would be attacked. A second brief statement was issued on March 16th, simply saying that all those previously appointed to government positions by his father would remain in their posts and should continue their work. Khamenei also appointed former IRGC chief General Mohsen Reza as a military advisor, the Mehr news agency reported, but analysts noticed something significant. Both statements were read by proxies. No video, no live audio, no proof of life in any verifiable format. Mojtaba Khamenei's first message after taking power was read on state television rather than delivered in person, adding to speculation over the severity of his injuries. The Telegraph report also said U.S. intelligence assessments indicated that Ali Khamenei had opposed his son, succeeding him, and regarded him as unfit for the role. Since his appointment, Mojtaba Khamenei has remained absent from funerals of senior military commanders killed in the initial U.S.-Israeli strikes. Iran's ambassador explained this by saying the new Ayatollah is not comfortable with public speaking. I don't think he would be comfortable giving speeches in any situation, the ambassador said. Whether Mojtaba Khamenei is dead, in a coma, or simply badly injured, one question dominates: who is actually making decisions in Tehran right now? The uncertainty surrounding Mojtaba Khamenei's condition has raised questions about who is making decisions in Tehran. According to reports, the growing role of the IRGC since the death of Ali Khamenei suggests the powerful military organization may now be exercising greater influence over the country's political direction. There is also a belief that Ali Larijani, Tehran's most influential power broker, is the man behind the curtain. Someone who commands the loyalty of both a faction of the IRGC and a portion of the cleric's income. Another rumor circulating among political insiders suggests that the apparent difficulty in maintaining regular communication with senior civilian and military officials and a perceived slowdown in decision-making may have prompted discussions within parts of the political establishment and some clerics' income about temporarily restoring a collective leadership structure until Mojtaba Khamenei is able to fully assume his duties. With top generals also killed in the strikes, Iran's troops have turned to a mosaic defense strategy that devolves power to local commanders, raising further questions about how much authority Mojtaba Khamenei is actually exercising. The uncertain command structure became clear when President Pezeshkian said forces had been ordered to stop attacks on neighboring countries unless Iran was attacked first, while drone and missile strikes on Gulf countries continued every day after that. The IRGC's economic wing controls a fortune comparable to, if not greater than, the supreme leader's own fortune. In practice, this means no revolutionary guardsman will accept a new supreme leader who does not subordinate his interests to theirs and who does not enable the IRGC to keep its power and wealth. In practice, this could mean no real succession, but rather a military junta. The rumors about Mojtaba Khamenei's condition are not merely of academic interest. They have immediate, real-world consequences for the global economy and regional security. The growing disruption has pushed the International Energy Agency and major consuming nations to take the extraordinary step of releasing 400 million barrels from strategic reserves, the largest such intervention in the agency's history. IA Executive Director Fatih Birol said the decision had already had a strong impact on markets and was aimed at stabilizing supply after the war triggered one of the biggest oil disruptions on record. If the supreme leader is incapacitated and rogue IRGC factions take total control, the Persian Gulf could become entirely unnavigable, threatening the oil lifelines of multiple major economies. The U.S. and Israel have also openly stated they view the leadership vacuum as an opportunity. The Israeli Defense Forces have already publicly threatened to target anyone who replaces Ali Khamenei. This threat itself may explain why Mojtaba Khamenei, even if alive and relatively well, might choose to remain hidden. Broadcasting from a known location would hand adversaries the coordinates to finish the job. There is one more dimension to this story that we cannot ignore, and it is deeply unsettling that in today's AI world, anyone can use voice synthesis software to create an entire speech in Khamenei's voice for as little as $10 a month. Audio is the easiest medium to manipulate in the age of artificial intelligence, and the country issuing only audio tapes rather than live video appearances is raising deep suspicions among intelligence experts. The only publicly known recording of Mojtaba's actual voice in existence is a brief, years-old, 1-minute clip, meaning there is almost No baseline to verify any future audio recording claimed to be from him. This is an unprecedented information problem. When a head of state can be impersonated with the $11 subscription, and when a government chooses to communicate only through static photographs and text read by news anchors, it becomes genuinely impossible for the outside world, and possibly even for Iranians themselves, to know whether their supreme leader is alive, dead, conscious, or in a Moscow hospital room.